When you're putting together that holiday roast, you really want to pair it with a nice mashed potato. Beautiful, nice and creamy. You've got a lot of different choices of potatoes here. We need to pick the right one for the mash. Sweet potatoes work good. Peel those guys up, make a good mashed potatoes. Russets, probably not the best potato for a mash. Great baked, high starch content. This guy, nothing but trouble. Fingerlings over here, right? So the roasted fingerlings are beautiful. We could also make this into a mash. Those are nice and creamy. Along with those, these have a low starch content. This is a new potato. That makes a nice creamy mashed potato as well. A lot of times people leave the skins on those. But what I'm gonna make today, I'm gonna use these butter potatoes, also known as a Yukon Gold potato. These work great, perfect mix of starch, nice creamy mashed potato. Let's go mash. All right, it's time to start these potatoes. My mise en place is ready to go, which means I've got everything that I need to put the dish together right here in front of me. I've got the butter, the milk, the bowl, my pot, potatoes. The potatoes are peeled. I like to take the peels off because I want a really nice creamy white potato. So potatoes are here, covered with a little bit of water, and it's cold water. You always want to start your potatoes in cold water first. They'll cook a lot more even. So I put it in the, all right, dude, seriously? Nothing but trouble, I told you, right there. So potatoes go inside the pot. I'm gonna put this on high, bring it to a boil. All right, I want you to turn this on, high heat, and bring that to a boil. I'm gonna bring it to a boil. Once it's at a boil, I'm gonna back that down to a low temperature. I just want you to simmer the potatoes. I don't want you to boil the potato rapidly and have that bang up against each other. They'll start to break apart. So 30, 35 minutes on low heat. They're gonna be tender, but we'll check that when it comes time. It's been about 30 minutes. So now let's get our milk heating up. So I'm gonna put this on. I've got about a half cup, maybe a cup of milk, and we'll see how much we need to use of that later. So that's gonna warm up. I'm gonna check my potatoes, see how they're done. So what you do is you take a potato, and these are all evenly cut, so anyone will do. And I put a knife in there and make sure it doesn't give me any resistance. If it gives a little resistance there, cook it another couple minutes, come back and check it, but those should be good. So then what we do is we're gonna drain these guys out. So, and I come back to the stove. What I wanna do now is make sure these are nice and dry here because before I add my cream and the butter there, but I'm gonna add my potatoes back to the pan for just maybe 3 to 5 minutes on a low heat. I wanna dry those potatoes out, get rid of some of that excess moisture. Now that I have my potatoes dry here, I need to get them mashed. A couple ways to do it. I know you guys have that mixer, that little masher at the house. You can do it right there in the pot. Bang those guys up, make sure you get all the lumps out of there. The other one thing that you can employ is a hand mixer. You can put it directly inside your pot, mix that up, and then add your butter and your milk to that. But what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna use a ricer. This is simply a tool that I open up here, and I put some of the potatoes on the inside and squeeze this guy shut. It's kind of like a giant garlic press. What winds up happening, your potato goes inside and squeeze this guy out. My potato comes out and almost like little pieces of rice. That's why it's called a ricer. My last little bit of potatoes here is riced out. Get all that off. All right, so now we need to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. You could do this before or after you put your butter and the milk in there. I like to use a white pepper instead of a black pepper. The white pepper tends to make doesn't show up those little specks in there. And I add my milk a small amount at a time. And usually I like to use all this butter that I have in the recipe. And I think the recipe we have has about 6 tablespoons of butter in there. You know, it's up to your preference how much you want to use. But basically I'm going to mix this potato up until it looks nice and creamy. The trick is with a nice mashed potato is not to overmix it. You know, when you have it in here, you don't want to mix that with your hand mixer forever. Your potato will start to get a little bit gummy on you. And then all we do at this point is mix this up to the way we like it. And actually at this point it's actually looking pretty good. I'll do that one little taste test, make sure it's good. It's good. If you felt like it, if you wanted to keep this held for a while, you could put a lid over there. You could even put it in a bowl of warm water, changing the water out every so often, maybe about an hour. You can keep your mashed potatoes nice and warm. follow a couple of these easy steps, and maybe as long as you keep this guy out of the kitchen, you'll wind up having a perfect mashed potato.